The old man had barely lifted one end of the heavy wooden cabinet when his knees gave way. Everyone in the parking lot looked away, except one exhausted single father who had every reason to keep walking. He helped the stranger load the truck, never realizing that one small act of kindness would lead him to the woman who would change his life forever. Welcome back to the channel. Today's story is about a struggling single dad, an unexpected meeting, and the kind of kindness that returns when you least expect it. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, which country are you watching from? And if you enjoy heartfelt stories with meaningful lessons, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the end. Sometimes, the smallest decision can open a door you never knew existed. 34-year-old Daniel Carter had learned how to carry more than most people could see. Every morning, he packed his 7-year-old son Noah's lunch, checked his homework, tied his shoes, and rushed him to school before driving across town to his job at a small auto repair shop. By evening, Daniel was usually covered in grease, his back ached, and his bank account seemed to shrink no matter how many extra hours he worked. But Noah never complained. "Dad," he would say while sitting at their tiny kitchen table, "when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house." Daniel always smiled. "You don't have to buy me anything, buddy." "But it'll have a garage," Noah insisted. "A huge one. And you can fix cars whenever you want." Daniel laughed, though sometimes he had to look away so Noah wouldn't notice the sadness in his eyes. The truth was, Daniel had once dreamed of owning his own repair shop. But after his wife passed away 3 years earlier, every dream had been replaced by one responsibility: making sure Noah felt loved. One chilly Saturday afternoon, Daniel stopped at a home improvement store to buy a replacement lock for their front door. Noah was spending the weekend with Daniel's sister, so for once, Daniel was alone. As he walked toward his old pickup, he noticed an elderly man struggling beside a large black truck. The man had silver hair, a neat navy coat, and a wooden cabinet balanced awkwardly on a cart. He looked well dressed, but his hands were shaking. Daniel slowed down. He was tired. His feet hurt. And the store was about to close. Then the cabinet slipped. The old man grabbed for it, but the weight pulled him forward. Daniel dropped his shopping bag and rushed over. "Careful." Together, they caught the cabinet before it crashed onto the pavement. The old man took a breath and placed one hand against the side of his truck. "Thank you," he said. "I thought I could manage it." "You shouldn't be lifting this alone," Daniel replied. "I've been told I'm stubborn." "I can see why." The old man laughed. For the next several minutes, Daniel helped guide the cabinet into the truck bed. It was heavier than it looked, and Daniel's shoulder burned by the time they finished. When the cabinet was secure, the old man reached into his coat. "Please," he said, pulling out a thick wallet. "Let me pay you." Daniel stepped back. "No, sir. You don't owe me anything. You gave me your time. And you looked like you needed help." The old man studied him carefully. Most people walked past. Daniel shrugged. "Maybe they were in a hurry. And you weren't?" Daniel looked toward his worn pickup. "I was. But some things matter more." For a moment, the old man said nothing. Then he held out his hand. "My name is Henry Whitmore. Daniel Carter." Henry nodded slowly, as if committing the name to memory. "Daniel, I'd like to thank you properly." "You already did. At least let me buy you dinner." Daniel smiled politely. "That's kind, but I should get home." Henry glanced at Daniel's truck and noticed the small child's jacket folded on the passenger seat. "You have a family?" "A son. Noah." "How old?" 7. Henry's expression softened. "Then bring him. My daughter is cooking dinner tomorrow. She makes enough food for an army." Daniel laughed. "That sounds generous, but we don't usually have dinner with strangers." Then perhaps we won't be strangers for long. Henry handed him a simple card. Daniel looked down. It had only a name, a phone number, and an address. No company logo. No title. Think about it, Henry said. Daniel slipped the card into his pocket, convinced he would never use it. But that night, Noah found it while helping empty his father's jacket. Who's Henry Whitmore? Someone I helped today. Is he your friend? I don't know. Noah studied the address. Maybe he wants to be. Daniel smiled. Maybe. The next morning, Daniel almost threw the card away. But Noah kept asking questions. Do you think they have a dog? I have no idea. Do you think his daughter likes pizza? I don't know that either. Can we go? Daniel hesitated. He had spent years protecting Noah from disappointment. Meeting strangers at a large house across town seemed unnecessary. But Noah looked hopeful. And Daniel remembered something his late wife had once told him: don't teach him to fear every new door just because one closed. So, that afternoon, Daniel and Noah drove to the address. As they turned through tall iron gates, Daniel nearly stopped the truck. A beautiful stone estate stood at the end of a long driveway, surrounded by gardens and autumn trees. Noah stared through the window. Dad, did we come to a castle? Daniel looked at the address again. I think we're in the right place. Before he could knock, the front door opened. Henry stood there smiling. You came. We almost didn't, Daniel admitted. I'm glad you changed your mind. Then Henry stepped aside. Come in. There's someone I want you to meet. Daniel entered the warm, elegant home, feeling painfully aware of his old boots and faded jacket. Then he saw her. A woman stood near the dining room window, arranging flowers in a glass vase. She had long brown hair, gentle eyes, and a quiet smile that seemed to brighten the entire room. Daniel, Henry said, this is my daughter, Emily. Emily turned toward him. So you're the man who rescued my father. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. I only helped with a cabinet. My father has told the story 6 times, she said. Each version makes the cabinet heavier. Henry cleared his throat. It was a very heavy cabinet. Noah laughed. Emily knelt beside him. And you must be Noah. How did you know? Your dad talks about you. Daniel looked surprised. I mentioned your name once. Apparently, that was enough. Dinner was warm and easy. Noah talked about school, dinosaurs, and his dream of building the world's biggest garage. Emily listened as if every word mattered. Daniel noticed something else. She wasn't impressed by money, the house, or appearances. She seemed happiest when Noah laughed. Later, while Noah helped Henry feed birds on the back patio, Emily stood beside Daniel. My father doesn't invite many people here, she said. Why did he invite me? She looked toward Henry. Because you helped him without knowing who he was. Daniel frowned. Who is he? Emily smiled. My father owns Whitmore Automotive. Daniel nearly dropped his glass. Whitmore Automotive was one of the largest car dealerships in the state. Daniel looked at Henry differently. That explains the house. It doesn't explain why he trusted you, Emily replied. Then her smile faded. My father has met many people who are kind when they want something. He wanted to know if genuine kindness still existed. Daniel felt uncomfortable. So I was being tested? No, Emily said quickly. He didn't plan it. But when you refused his money, he couldn't stop talking about you. Daniel looked through the window at Noah. I didn't help him to impress anyone. I know. The words were simple, but the way she said them made Daniel feel understood. Over the next few weeks, Henry invited Daniel and Noah back several times. Emily and Daniel grew closer. They talked about loss, parenthood, dreams, and the strange ways life could change without warning. Emily had her own pain. 2 years earlier, she had been engaged. Her fiancé had cared more about the Whitmore name than about her. When she discovered he had been using her father's influence to build his career, she ended the relationship. After that, she told Daniel one evening, "I stopped believing people could love without wanting something in return." Daniel was quiet. "I understand." "You do?" "My wife died when Noah was 4. Afterward, people told me I'd find someone else." Emily looked at him. "And?" "I wasn't looking for someone else. I was trying to learn how to be enough for my son." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Emily reached across the table and gently held his hand. But happiness rarely arrives without a test. One afternoon, Daniel was called into his manager's office. The repair shop was closing. Daniel would lose his job in 2 weeks. He drove home in silence, staring at the bills on the passenger seat. That evening, Noah found him sitting in the dark. "Dad?" Daniel forced a smile. "Hey, buddy. Are we okay?" The question broke something inside him. Daniel pulled Noah close. "We're going to be okay." But he wasn't sure. When Emily heard the news, she offered to speak with her father. Daniel immediately refused. "I don't want a job because I helped him. You wouldn't be getting charity. It would feel like it." Emily looked hurt. "Why is accepting help so difficult for you?" "Because people always expect something back." "I don't." Daniel said nothing. The next morning, Henry arrived at Daniel's apartment. He placed a folder on the kitchen table. "I'm opening a new community repair center," Henry said. "Affordable repairs, apprenticeships for young mechanics, and free safety checks for single parents." Daniel stared at the papers. "I want you to manage it." Daniel shook his head. "You're offering this because I helped you." "No," Henry replied. "I'm offering it because I asked about you. Your former manager says you're the best mechanic he's ever had. Your coworkers say you stay late to help people who can't afford repairs." Daniel looked down. Henry continued. "You helped me before you knew my name. Now I know yours. And I know what kind of man you are." Daniel's eyes filled. "I don't want special treatment." "Then don't take it as special treatment. Take it as an opportunity you earned." A few months later, the repair center opened. Daniel stood beneath the new sign while Noah proudly wore a tiny mechanic's shirt. Emily stood beside them. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt his future opening again. That evening, after the celebration, Daniel found Emily in the garden. "You know," he said, "I still can't believe all this happened because I helped load a cabinet." Emily smiled. "No. It happened because you stopped when everyone else kept walking." Daniel looked at her. "And what happens now?" She stepped closer. "Maybe we find out." Months later, Noah drew a picture of their family. Daniel, Noah, Emily, and Henry stood in front of the repair center. At the bottom, Noah had written, "Sometimes family is the people who choose to stay." Daniel placed the picture on his desk. Years had passed since he lost the life he thought he would have. But now he understood something important. Life doesn't always return what it takes from us. Sometimes, it leads us somewhere new. And sometimes, the greatest changes begin with a simple choice, to stop, to help, and to care when no one is watching. Because kindness is never wasted. You may not see where it leads. You may never know whose life you changed. But every act of compassion leaves a door open somewhere. Daniel helped an old man load a truck because it was the right thing to do. He never expected a new career, a second chance at love, or a family that would choose him. But perhaps the most beautiful things in life are the ones we don't chase. They are the ones we discover after choosing to be kind. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this message today. And tell us in the comments, do you believe one small act of kindness can truly change a life? We'd love to hear your thoughts.